This video should be fun, well, about as much fun as we can have with death as the topic. After helping a lot of families over the years as a probate real estate specialist, I've found that a substantial amount of stress, aggravation, time, and money could have been saved if they protected the estate. Some very well-known, successful, and high net worth celebrities have died and left behind estate planning disasters. Would you like to avoid the disastrous mistakes that these wealthy celebrities made? Well, let's get to it. We can definitely learn some important lessons from the heartache, conflict, and struggles that loved ones were faced with as a result of their estate planning mistakes. First, Tony Shea. After 20 years of leading Zappos to world-class success and redeveloping parts of downtown Las Vegas, Shea unfortunately went down a dark hole. He died soon after firefighters pulled him from a shed in Connecticut, burnt by a fire that he set, leaving not only an estate worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but also a mystery as what he wanted done with all that money. Although he had substantial assets, the 46-year-old did not leave a will or any estate planning documents. Shea's father and brother are trying to pull together all the property that he bought and the promises he made, sometimes on sticky notes. During the months leading up to his death, Forbes estimated that his worth was $840 million. But who knows? The probate court is still getting a handle on it several months, even a year or two, after Shea's death. People in Las Vegas are beginning to realize that about 100 of Shea's properties there could be going to auction. Without the proper planning, 40% of the proceeds of that sale and the rest of the estate will go to the federal government. That is not counting the legal fees and other probate costs and state taxes. Given Shea's civic mindedness, he probably would have preferred the money had gone another route. Perhaps he may have wanted to have money go to a nonprofit to support some of those ideas and to create a legacy. His family might still do something like that, but they'll have to do it with 40% less money. Chadwick Boseman is another celebrity who died without a will. In the case of the Black Panther actor, he did not do any estate planning, even though he had been suffering from progressive colon cancer for 4 years before he died at 43. Boseman's widow had to go to court to get control of his almost $1 million estate. Although he died in 2020, the court did not grant control of his estate until recently. Aretha Franklin died without a will, which has led to years of public fighting over his estate, including the resignation of her niece as the executor. There have been millions paid in taxes and another million to cover the estate's administration. Prince died at the relatively young age of 57 in April of 2016. Along with being shocked at the Purple Rain singer's death, people were also shocked that he had not executed even a basic last will and testament prior to his death. Now, a Minnesota judge is deciding how to distribute Prince's estimated $300 million estate among his 6 siblings. Other potential heirs have surfaced too, including a federal inmate claiming to be Prince's son. So when someone dies without so much as a basic will in place, the state intestate succession laws dictate how the estate is to be distributed. Intestate just means without a will. Prince may or may not have wanted his siblings to share his estate equally. I mean, look, what is your relationship with your brothers and sisters? In John Singleton's case, the director of Boys in the Hood had not updated his will since 1993, just after his first daughter was born. When Singleton died at 51 of a stroke in April 2019, he had 7 children. But they may lose out on any money because only one of them was named in Singleton's will. His mother has asked the probate court to review the estate. All of this, though, will drain part of his $3.8 million estate and leave a legacy of disappointment no matter how the probate court works it out. Jim Morrison died at 27 with a simple 2-page will. Unmarried, he left his entire estate to Pamela Corson, his girlfriend, if she were alive. If she wasn't, then the estate was to be divided equally between his sister and brother. Since he was estranged from his parents, he didn't mention them in the will at all. His girlfriend inherited his estate, but she died intestate 3 years later. All of her estate was then inherited by her parents. A claim was made against their son's estate by Morrison's parents, who argued that the will made by Morrison was made incompetently. And the common law marriage between Morrison and Corson was illegitimate. Another one that was fought over for years, depleting the estate. Jimi Hendrix also died at 27 and left no will, but a messy probate fight. Even though he was very close to his brother, because Jimmy died intestate, the court awarded his entire estate to his father. Jimmy's father later left everything to an adopted daughter from a subsequent marriage, leaving the brother with absolutely nothing. James Brown also had documents that were ambiguous, and it took 6 years and millions in estate taxes to settle. Now, this one's interesting. Herman Cain died also exactly 2 years ago after contracting COVID-19. His assistant, Lisa, claims that Cain promised her a severance deal that she plans to pursue despite not producing a document with the details. Now, we can write off that off as her bad luck and not getting it in writing, right? But she's making it difficult for Cain's widow and the estate. She claims that Cain's widow is undercounting the estate by leaving out gold bars and coins that she claims Cain kept in a safe deposit box. Now, this is one that I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with. Michael Jackson's death in June 2009 began a long string of ongoing battles in California probate court over his estate, now worth over $700 million. Among Jackson's biggest estate planning mistakes was that he actually did create a trust, but failed to fund it. Without a properly funded trust, Jackson's beneficiaries have wound up numerous times in probate court. The estate is still open, and all things concerning it are subject to court approval. The big lesson here is to simply remember to have any and all assets held in the trust. Whitney Houston had a will when she died in 2012, but it was executed a month before the 1993 birth of Houston's only child, daughter Bobby Christina Brown. Houston never updated her will, and by the time of her death, her fortune had climbed to $20 million, and her daughter Bobby Christina was 18 years old. Under the terms of the old will, Bobby was to receive 10% of the estate, about $2 million. And when she turned 21, the remainder of the funds at a later time. Unfortunately, failing to update her will meant that Houston failed to consider whether her daughter was mature enough to handle millions of dollars at the young age of 20. Sadly, Bobby Christina got the $2 million, but never received the rest of her inheritance because she died in 2015, unfortunately, also as a result of drowning and drug intoxication. Had Houston taken the time to update her estate plan, she could have created a trust to help protect and manage Bobby's inheritance. Now, here in Las Vegas, there's a name we all maybe drive by every day, and that's Howard Hughes. He passed in 1976 and when he passed, there were over 600 people who came forward claiming to have an interest in his fortune. Over 40 wills were produced, each one claiming to be the one last will and testament of Howard Hughes. After about 5 years of this chaos and several judges, a judge deemed that none of the wills were valid and declared that Hughes died intestate. Now, he wished to give his $2.5 billion, and that's billion with a B, $2.5 billion fortune to medical research. Without a valid written will, the fortune was divided among his 22 cousins. However, litigation over the estate carried on for another 34 years. So look, and there's a lot more. Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, Anna Nicole Smith and oil tycoon J. Howard Marshall, James Gandolfini, Tom Clancy, tobacco heiress Doris Duke, Grateful Dead's Jerry Garcia, and Leona Helmsley. Ultimately, this adds up to tens of billions of dollars tied up in probate court. Caring.com's survey found that about 30% of Americans do not think they have enough money to require a will or a trust. And that's just not true. So, not having trust or any kind of estate planning in place is for sure a recipe for disaster. Look, nobody likes asking the tough questions such as, what will happen after I die, and where do we want our things to go? So, imagine preserving your life's hard work, the hard-earned wealth that you've created, and the opportunity to leave a lasting legacy. Even the most simple estate plans can offer clarity and peace of mind in tumultuous times. The pandemic has caused me to analyze my level of service, so I'm offering anyone a complimentary hour with one of my experienced and caring estate planning attorneys who specialize in protecting families, because look, I don't want to see anyone I know go through the expense and stress of probate. So look, no BS. Call, text, email, let me know any thoughts or questions, comment on this video, and I'll be sure to help you with the answers to help you and your family and moving forward, so your heirs and beneficiaries, anyone you're related to, does not have to go through this. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks.